It's a real joy to be with you across time and space from here in, I hope I'm allowed to say the C word, here in Cambridge. I'm Adrian and I'm the vicar of the University Church here. And Claire said that I should go up high for Ascension Day. So in a mad moment, we thought we'd try and do this on the top of our tower, which is the highest point in the centre of the city of Cambridge. You'll probably be able to recognise King's College Chapel behind me. And unlike Oxford, we don't have a cathedral like yours. I can see our cathedral though, 16 miles that way, the cathedral at Ely. And I can just about make out on the horizon the central octagon and the towers at the west front. And like you and every Christian community at the moment, we're trying to work out a new reality, how to do worship and witness across time and space. And Ascension Day is a really good day to be thinking about time and space, because the event described in our reading from Acts is all about the one who, by his resurrection and ascension, joins heaven and earth in one. The ascension is all about Jesus transcending time and space by his lordship over them. That does not make Jesus a Time Lord, but that does provide a nice segue for me. A few weeks ago, just before lockdown, I was at Broadcasting House in London and found myself face to face with the TARDIS. For reasons I don't entirely fathom, the security people wouldn't let me go inside. But let's pretend. Join me, if you would, in my liturgical TARDIS. The clock is set for just over 500 years ago. It's today, Ascension Day in 1518. And we find ourselves materialising in, of all places, the Galilee Chapel of Durham Cathedral. As we emerge blinking into the mixed clouds of dust and incense, rather like your chaplain's sitting room, we hear an extraordinary sound in the distance. It's a mixture of liturgical chant and gruff physical exertion. As we walk into the space at the back of the nave, we see an amazing sight. A larger than life-sized papier-mâché figure of Christ zooming upwards with surprising speed from the floor of the nave into the tower. And at the feet of him, there is a small group of very sweaty monks in a heap, exhausted from heaving on an elaborate rope system to assist the Lord in his flight. Medieval monasticism does all-age worship, but it's true. It's really what you would have seen on May the 13th, 1518, Ascension Day in Durham Cathedral. But if we could set our clock 2,000 years ago in our liturgical TARDIS back to the real Galilee, or Bethany, or Jerusalem, depending on which account we read, what would we have seen there? A human rocket, as in Durham, or something else entirely? Would we have seen the Lord of all time and all space being carried up to heaven in glory? Would we have seen the cloud take him from our sight? Would we have seen anything at all? I think we know that if we constrain ourselves to only human understandings of time and space, we surely miss the point of this story. And while the story is obviously all about him, it is of course just as much all about us. Matthew and Luke have much to say in their respective Gospels, but so does John in his. And one text in particular has lodged in my mind as I prepared these words. Chapters 13 to 17 of John's Gospel are one massive, dense, emotional setting of Jesus' last hours with his disciples. And in chapter 16, John records Jesus saying this: "I tell you the truth, it is to your advantage that I go away." Jesus says, "It is to your advantage that I go away." What does that mean for you and for me? Surely this: that without his departure, we will not be able to receive the measure of his gift. Without his departure, we will not enjoy the blessing of his Spirit. And without his departure, we cannot be the agents of his mission, of his kingdom, that is, I hope, our longing and our goal. Heaven is under our feet as well as over our heads, wrote Thoreau. He was speaking of the beauty of a winter landscape, but his wonderful words might apply equally well to our task and our calling. And it is at the heart of the meaning of the ascension of Christ, not to stand gawping skywards, trying to work it all out, like the men of Galilee in our reading. No, it is to do what those first disciples then did, to get on with the job of prayer and proclamation, and to grow God's church in holiness and truth. Right now, we cannot do that physically, but only in time and in space. How good, then, that our God transcends time and space. He is gone up. Today, he joins heaven and earth